The internet was set alight when Marvel dropped the trailer for their upcoming Shang-Chi movie with some character reveals, plot points, and awesome fight scenes all making an appearance. But what can we expect to see in the upcoming movie, and how will it tie into the MCU? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at here, so let's dive in. Alright, so one of the first things we can tell you is that Shang-Chi will lean towards more of the traditional Marvel origin story, unlike movies such as Black Panther or Spider-Man Homecoming that opted not to delve too deeply into the protagonist's past. In the teaser, we see a montage of presumably Shang-Chi's training with his father from boyhood to his adolescent years, with him taking on a group of ninja and seemingly winning. How far it will dive into his backstory is unclear, but it will certainly play a part in the shape of the narrative as a whole, not only setting up Shang-Chi's powers and skill level, but his relationship with other characters as well, in particular, his father. One of the things we did learn, though, is that Shang-Chi has left his highly disciplined life behind and moved to the West Coast, where he has been living by himself for 10 years. This was a so-called gift from his father, who allowed him to live a free life however he wanted to. So he opted to move away from a life of luxury and instead led a more humble life as a valet at the Fairmont Hotel, which, okay, living in a one-bedroom apartment, and, all of which will come crashing down pretty darn quickly. Although there are similarities between the Shang-Chi we see in the trailer and the comic book version, both initially learning martial arts from a young age and living a sheltered lifestyle, there are some notable differences, with this move to the West Coast being one of them. Of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel movie without having a trusted character the protagonist can lean on for support, and in Shang-Chi that comes in the form of Katy, played by the great Awkwafina. Although not much has been revealed about her character, Katy is meant to be Shang-Chi's closest friend and confidant, although she doesn't know anything about his background, training, or who his father is. But it does seem that she will be drawn into the crossfire due to her connection with Shang-Chi, and her life will change quite drastically. When discussing the character, Awkwafina said that Katy has real heart and is super brave, and that she has a loyalty and dedication to her friendship with Shang-Chi. A loyalty that will no doubt be tested pretty quickly. But Shang-Chi isn't just a martial arts expert. He has the ability to harness his chi, aka his life force, which helps him enhance his mind and body. This allows him to perform tasks that normal athletes couldn't, such as catching bullets from machine guns and taking on superhuman opponents. He has been so good at mastering his chi that he has had some notable students, such as Captain America and Wolverine. The teaser alluded to his powers, such as the moment where he reacts to the water rushing towards him as if it were frozen in place. One of the biggest features in traditional martial arts movies is having unnamed fighters punching and breaking wood to increase their strength and resolve. Shang-Chi is seemingly no different, and we can see him training by punching the wood multiple times over the years. Just saying, but Groot better watch out. As we mentioned, while there are some differences between the comics Shang-Chi and the movies Shang-Chi, there was one big similarity: the trademark pose. Shang-Chi's signature pose that he pulls towards the end of the trailer will certainly be recognizable for fans of the Shang-Chi comics, and it's good to see it in action in the MCU. Something that became very clear in the trailer is that Shang-Chi has some long-standing issues with his father and refuses to join him and take his place at his father's side in the Ten Rings organization. Shang-Chi also has issues with his father in the comics, but it was actually a different character. In the comics, Shang-Chi's father is Dr. Fu Manchu, who Shang-Chi eventually learns is evil. But Marvel actually lost the rights to the character, which is in some ways seen as a blessing, as Fu Manchu is now seen as a, let's call it, poor stereotype. In the movie, though, his father is notably different, with the character listed under the name Wenwu, but you will likely know him by a different name, the Mandarin. The Mandarin is one of the most popular villains in Marvel's library, and although I liked it, many weren't pleased at the Mandarin fake-out in Iron Man 3. But Marvel fans are finally getting the real deal in Shang-Chi, and I am extremely confident that actor Tony Leung will make it fully worth the wait. For those unfamiliar with Leung's work, the Hong Kong actor is a total master of the art, starring in Infernal Affairs, which was the inspiration for Martin Scorsese's The Departed, and has worked multiple times with the great Wong Kar-wai in movies such as In the Mood for Love, 2046, and The Grand Master, where he played Ip Man. I am honestly hoping that he will be one of the best Marvel villains yet, but we will just have to wait and see. The Mandarin is a man of means, and as leader of the Ten Rings, has seemed to amass a mini-empire, complete with an army of assassins. Although it's admittedly a shame that we won't get to see the Mandarin go up against his comic book arch-nemesis, Iron Man, seeing him go up against his son will make for a super compelling flick. Speaking of the Ten Rings, the terrorist organization has already played a big part in the MCU, and were the group that abducted Tony Stark in Iron Man. It's unclear if they will pay reference to it in Shang-Chi, but there are people who believe that the Ten Rings will have a more prominent part to play moving forward, and that Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina might even be associated with them. In the comics, the rings are just that, rings, but they have some pretty powerful attributes attached to them and can discharge energy, freeze objects, rob rooms of light, and even control people's minds. As the trailer shows, instead of rings that go on your finger, they are increased in size and actually come in bracelet form, because villains bedecked with hand jewelry with powerful properties has kind of already been done before. Another notable item is the distinctive necklace worn by young Shang-Chi. If it too has some sort of magical property, it has yet to be known, but many people believe that the necklace is a keepsake of his mother's, who promises to have a phantom presence throughout the movie. Not literally, just, in spirit. Boom! Ghost pun. Another reason why we think Shang-Chi's mother will have such an important part to play in the movie, even if she is not actually in it, is the fact that Shang-Chi seems to have a deep connection and love for his mother. This can be seen in what looks like a shrine, located on the left-hand side of the shot, where water rushes out toward Shang-Chi. What happened to his mother is unclear, but it could be the reason that Shang-Chi's relationship with his father is so rocky. One character that definitely caught my eye in the trailer is the masked villain and Ten Rings operative, the enigmatic Death Dealer. This character was seemingly one of Shang-Chi's stricter and harsher instructors, and also seems like one of the Mandarin's most devout pupils. There will likely be some bad blood between Death Dealer and Shang-Chi throughout the movie, especially if Shang-Chi turns his father down. The way Death Dealer has been presented in the trailer is reminiscent of how Taskmaster was revealed in the Black Widow trailer, and as of right now, it is unclear who is playing both Death Dealer and Taskmaster, with Marvel keeping it under lock and key. Whether there will be some big reveal during the movie and it turns out to be some huge A-list casting, like, I don't know, Keanu Reeves, come on, boy can dream, is unclear, but it is likely that Death Dealer is hiding something and may hold a very important secret. Speaking of Death Dealer, we know at one point Death Dealer and Shang-Chi will do battle, with the lighting reminding me of that fight scene on top of the tower in Skyfall. It was genuinely one of the most impressive moments out of many in the trailer, and I am really looking forward to seeing these two do battle in some martial arts style action sequences. On the topic of action scenes, there promises to be another high-stakes fight scene on a moving bus taking place in the movie. While fighting on public transport is somewhat of a superhero action movie trope, the glimpses we see of the fight scene reminded me of the subway scene in The Raid 2, and some of the choreography taking place in the sequence was pretty epic. Having these close-quarters, claustrophobic fight scenes is exciting and definitely an homage to a number of other martial arts movies. Now, in my very own humble opinion, I genuinely believe that the action scenes in Shang-Chi have the potential to be some of the best scenes ever to take place in the MCU. Although we have only had a flavor of them in the trailer and a few behind-the-scenes videos, the choreography looks amazing, the training intense, and the movie seems to want to emulate some of the best martial arts movies of all time. While there have been some great action scenes in the MCU already, there have also been some kind of dull ones that often rely on quick, disorienting cuts. In Shang-Chi, with some of the stunts and action scenes seemingly playing out in real time, the action sequences could be more immersive and encapsulating, but we will just have to wait and see how well they do. While Shang-Chi actor Simu Liu may not have been a martial arts expert like, say, Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee, Liu does have a background in martial arts with experience in both Taekwondo and Wing Chun, as well as being an overall athlete. Although, other than working a few days as a stuntman in Toronto, Liu has said his main experience was, quote, backflipping in his backyard when he was a teenager and doing parkour with his friends. On his social media, Simu Liu has shown off his martial arts skills and abilities, and has even done training with the Karate Kid's Zach Wang and stuntman Vidan Tran to prepare for the role. His martial arts and stunt experience proved to be pretty useful, seeing as the character doesn't wear a mask and has to do a majority of the stunts himself. Of course, it wouldn't be the MCU without some pretty powerful artifacts or weaponry, now would it? We have already discussed the bracelets in this video. Well, iron rings, I guess, is the more manly way to put it. But another weapon that seemed like it came straight out of Wakanda was the sword which emanated red energy, seen in the bus sequence. How it works and why you would use it is unclear, but it looks cool. It also leaves me wondering what other kinds of weapons we will see. Another parallel I can draw with the likes of Black Panther and, well, let's face it, the MCU as a whole, is that it looks like the movie's climax will end in one big battle. In one clip from the trailer, we can see a mass battle taking place outside an ancient Chinese temple, with warriors seen riding on horseback, but that looks like it could be a flashback. There is also another scene where two sets of warriors are doing battle inside a village surrounded by mountains, which could be a potential candidate for a final showdown. Producer Jonathan Schwartz has hinted that the movie took inspirations from classic kung fu movies such as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and the more slapstick style of martial arts movies such as Kung Fu Hustle and Jackie Chan movies such as Drunken Master. These influences were all pretty apparent in the trailer. The forest fight scene, for example, was reminiscent of both Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and House of Flying Daggers, while there is a Kung Fu Hustle poster literally just hanging up on the wall in Shang-Chi's apartment. One thing you might have been left wondering from the trailer was, what the hell were those four-legged beasts fighting alongside humans? Well, while they may look like saber-toothed tigers or other, big, adorable cats, they are actually dogs, Foo Dogs to be precise, and are actually a main staple of Buddhist mythology and are used to protect sacred sites from being defiled. While the movie will seemingly have a much more serious tone than the likes of, say, Thor Ragnarok, Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy, there will of course be moments of comic relief, and the movie is seemingly making good use of one of their greatest comic stars, Awkwafina. She may have branched off into some more serious work, such as The Farewell, but Awkwafina is definitely known for her comedic talents, and there were a handful of moments in the trailer where we can see her showcasing her powers. While we have talked extensively about Katy, Mandarin, Death Dealer, and of course Shang-Chi himself, we did see a few other characters in the trailer, ones that pose a risk to Shang-Chi. As the Mandarin says how he trained Shang-Chi to defeat some of the most powerful people in the world, we see images of new characters, Xialing and Razor Fist, whose name makes me think of Taserface in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, actually. These two characters promise to give Shang-Chi a run for his money and pose a threat to him. Xialing can also be seen wearing a similar necklace to the one Shang-Chi was wearing, suggesting that there might even be a family connection there. Now, with this next point, I am going to move a little bit into the world of conjecture, but could Madripoor play a part in this movie? The fictional Southeast Asian principality was introduced into the MCU in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but the forest also has ties to the character of Shang-Chi. With some of the action taking place in Asia, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that Madripoor will also make an appearance to have Shang-Chi tie into the larger world of the MCU. But while that point was conjecture, there are some actual links hidden in the trailer between Shang-Chi and the MCU. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed a sneak cameo in the bus scene with actor and comedian Zach Cherry seen as one of the commuters. For all of those who have seen Homecoming, you may remember him as the man who told Spidey to do a flip. Maybe Cherry will replace Stan Lee as the guy who makes funny cameos in every MCU movie. Guys, why are you booing me right now? What's going on? Another Easter egg, one that I admittedly missed until I read about it on the internet, is a reference to the one and only Captain America. Cap's shield has been through the ringer in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but fans could see what looks like Cap's shield in the background of a shot during the trailer. Many have been quick to point out it could be John Walker's, although it is admittedly hard to tell. How and why it would end up in the background of Shang-Chi is unclear, but man, I gots to find out. Seeing as Shang-Chi has links to the Defenders, in particular Luke Cage, will we see the likes of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, or Iron Fist in the MCU? Disney seemingly have no plans to bring the Defenders back, but with Daredevil reportedly appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home, you never know.